talk about what could somebody do about it rather than constantly facing it, or how do you improve it or mitigate it?
I think a couple things. One of the ways to find out if you suspect you have it is to take a very simple 20 question assessment that's readily available online. It's called the Clance Imposter Phenomenon Scale and or CIPS. Anyone can Google it and find it and assess for themselves where they fall. Do they have a few symptoms, moderate symptoms, or severe symptoms? And that's a really good place to start. Before I get into all the good advice that's out there, let me just take a quick step back and say that because of the myths that we spoke about a moment ago, there's also a lot of bad advice out there. And I come across it all the time. So I imagine people who are dealing with this come across it as well. And it isn't helpful. For example, people will say, "You don't have imposter syndrome. Just do it. Just get over it." Well, it's hard to just do it when you're truly feeling this way. You're not feeling this way for attention. You're feeling this way because you truly believe that. And life is not a Nike commercial. We can't just do it. We need help. Telling somebody with imposter syndrome, quit over preparing, also not helpful because that over preparation is part of their compensation mechanism for trying to deal with it. Procrastination is also an ineffective method for trying to deal with it because we're talking about incredibly high achieving individuals. Whether they over prepare or procrastinate, they're going to reach their goal and they're going to do it well. It's just what they do to themselves internally. So telling someone like that to stop chasing perfection is also not really helpful because they don't know how. Telling someone to accept the uncertainty of outcomes, they don't want to accept the uncertainty of outcomes because all they're doing is trying to prevent a bad outcome and prevent what they believe is their house of cards from coming down and being discovered as a phony. All of that is ineffective advice. Effective advice is to seek a coach where you can work on identifying the underlying issue. In coaching, we try to find the root causes of it and then what the triggers are, and eventually reframing the unrealistic narrative, that unrealistic and debilitating self talk, with something healthier and more objective and more realistic. Understanding why you have it, what triggers you, and what you can do differently develops a real toolbox for people where their symptoms can be greatly moderated. I don't talk about full recovery because I just don't know yet in my practice. Maybe we can talk about this in 10 years from now, but I don't know right now if somebody can completely be rid of these feelings. But we can definitely mitigate them to a point where you just live alongside of it. You have lots of tools and you don't need to suffer anymore. Mentorship is also incredibly effective, but it's effective when it's mentee driven because a well meaning mentor who dishes out advice to the mentee and tells the person, solicited or unsolicited, here's what you should do with your career. You know what, to make you feel better, here's what we're going to do. We're going to position you. We're going to do this and that. That's not helpful to a person who has incredible anxiety about the career. So as long as it's mentee driven and that person can sit and listen to how the mentee is feeling and offer support, that's incredibly helpful. And finally, organizational support from leaders, educational programs that explain what this is, especially in prone populations, for example, healthcare field, where it's incredibly prevalent. But recognizing the root causes and the triggers and reframing the narrative is a little bit different for each individual, and that's why one-on-one is probably the best place to start.
Thank you. And I love that. And the work that you do is so valuable